So as 2021 comes to an end, like I do every year, I thought I would go back, take a look back at the year that was, talk a little bit about some of the adventures I went on, some of the behind the scenes stuff, and really just talk about the health of the channel and how the channel has grown in 2021. So without any further ado, let's get into it. This is the Best Virginian 2021 Best of Best. So I finished out 2020 with about 180 subscribers. My goal for the year was to double that number, to try and hit 350 total subscribers. Did I do it? Did I not do it? Well, there should be a number somewhere down around. So before I get into it, I'm going to put little time codes down below. If we talk about anything during this video that you would want to look into or get more information about, check out down below. There will be timestamps. So the first video I did for the year was a video on the Wetzel County Good Farm murder. That was a topic I wanted to talk about for a very long time. Really, it plays a major role in how I got into true crime and local history, West Virginia history, even a little bit of how I got interested in like the paranormal and folklore and ghost stories and all that is because of that story and it being featured on an episode of Unsolved Mysteries. There's a couple topics from Wetzel County history that I would still love to review, but that video I had a lot of fun doing, and I believe it's in like second or third for the most popular video I did in all of 2021. The next video I did was on the covered bridges of West Virginia that I had visited. These included the 100 covered bridge, the Barracksville covered bridge, and the Philippi covered bridge. During the wintertime, I don't really get to travel around that much, so it gives me opportunities to do little videos on places and things that I have been to, have taken pictures of, but have not been able to do entire videos dedicated to. For example, while working on this video, I went back and realized I had never done an entire video on the Adena burial mounds of West Virginia. Now, the last just general history video I did during the winter season was a video on John Henry, the steel driving man, West Virginia's man of steel, which is a topic that has been covered pretty thoroughly. I feel like a lot of people appreciated this one because it did provide a West Virginia perspective on this story that does have some roots in the hills of West Virginia. And it went over extremely well. So before I get into my first road trip of 2021, I need to give a little bit of background, a little bit of context into what happened here. Because after this first road trip, my channel kind of exploded for a little bit of time. So towards the end of 2020, I started being followed by several members of the Fallout 76 community. I do need to go back at some point and talk about the early history of the channel, because there was a point back in 2018 when I actually stopped making videos for about 4 or 5 months because I thought whenever that game released, I was going to be pushed out of the West Virginia content creator sphere because I thought that area was going to be super oversaturated by individuals, by Fallout 76 community members. But towards the end of last year, right around October, November, I started being followed by several members of that community. And like always, I didn't really plan on this happening. It just kind of got dumped on my lap. In February, into January, beginning of February, I got super sick. Like, I was stuck in bed for the better part of 2 weeks. I was too sick to play video games. I needed something to do, so I decided to start watching some streams on Twitch, because I had probably about a dozen or so Twitch streamers and Fallout 76 community members who had started following me on my social media, had started following the channel. And just by hanging out in the chat, people started, more and more people started coming over and following me. interacting with content creators on social media, things like that. So the beginning of March, I went on my first major road trip to Havasha, West Virginia. And part of that, working on the video, I posted a lot of pictures from that trip, which caused a lot of people in the Fallout 76 community to lose their mind. I think from that video alone, my total subscribers just went like straight up for a little bit. Subscribers and followers. And that was really amazing to see. It was really one of the first times I had seen that big of a boom with my content within the Fallout 76 community, and I am very thankful and very gracious for that. After that, I did a video on the Ohio River Mound of West Virginia, of New Martinsville, West Virginia, another Wetzel County mystery, which I always love covering. That one has actually done fairly well for what it's about. After that, just another general road trip video, went out to Audra State Park for the very first time. It's a beautiful little park out there. So this next one is also kind of funny. On April 19th, I packed up and decided I was going to go down to Weston to the Trans-Allegheny. I was about halfway there whenever Google, came over my radio and was like, by the time you get to your destination, this location isn't open on Mondays. So I was forced to go on another road trip on April 20th, which, if you know from my 2020 year in review, last year I ended up going out to Cooper's Rock on April 20th and ran into several groups of hippies. This year I went to the Trans-Allegheny. I also went down to Appalachian Glass there in Weston. Amazing place if you're in the area. I would definitely recommend checking them out. And not just that, did I have a great time getting to, visit and explore the Trans-Allegheny for the first time, which is an amazing place to tour. Seeing some of the renovations they've done there, and the first floor museum is absolutely beautiful. This was another video that when I put it out there, the Fallout 76 community absolutely just jumped on it and took it off. Really shared the crap out of it, and I appreciate that. But also, as an even weirder note, I had just gotten my West Virginia travel guide, which comes with a nice little book and a map of the state of West Virginia. Now, as a joke, I said that I was going to use the map to make like a crazy conspiracy theory map of the state of West Virginia to keep track of all of my travels that I had been on last year and this year. And for some reason, because you people like to enable me, y'all thought that was a great idea, which kind of spurred off the West Virginia Adventure Map project, which several people have joined me on. Basically, it is a way for us, people who have come and explored the Mountain State, traveled around West Virginia, to keep track of their adventures and share those experiences on social media. Now, some of the people who have kind of come along and helped me with that project are Turtle76 over on Twitter, along with Levi, part of Appalachian Oddity. I cannot thank y'all enough. It has been an amazing opportunity, but it brought its own kind of weirdness with it, because after that, several people started coming to me for West Virginia travel advice. And obviously, if you think that is a good idea, you have never traveled with me. And with summer, I went on several amazing road trips, got to visit some amazing locations and museums. In June, I went down to the Flatwoods Monster Museum there in Sutton, West Virginia. I also, for West Virginia Day, got to go to Independence Hall in Wheeling. That is where West Virginia officially became a state in 1863. Oddly enough, I never knew this. It was right across the street from the B&O building, which is now owned by West Virginia Northern Community College. And all the way back in 2010, when I took Appalachian Subculture, it was a sociology class that basically used the exact same syllabus and book as West Virginia history, which is 99.9% why I am here doing this, here in 2021, was because of this class that really relit the fire in me for West Virginia history, local history. Yeah, I could have just crossed the street at I could have started this entire project a decade ago. I also finally got to visit the West Virginia Palace of Gold in New Veritable. Very much like the Covered Bridges video that I had done back in the late winter, early spring, I decided to do a video on cemetery tourism. When 2020 kicked in and they started shutting down museums and other public indoor places that I wanted to do videos on. One of the places I decided to go, because I knew enough about local history to actually use those places to my advantage, was cemeteries. Turns out they don't shut down cemeteries during global pandemic. I have all these pictures from all these cemeteries I had gone to, and I decided to throw together a real quick video on the Whitegate, which is the West Virginia State Penitentiary cemetery, and the Peninsula Cemetery, which used to be much larger until they built the interstate going through Wheeling, and it kind of split it into two much smaller cemeteries. And that video went over extremely well. Like, I do not know why that video was so well received, but it was. And don't worry, I'm working on a follow-up to it. And like always, with October, I decided to do videos looking at the history of ghost stories and folklore here in West Virginia. I do it every single year. People always appreciate, always enjoy those videos. And I think I did 3 this year. The only thing during this time period that I understand, but it sucked, was the cancellation of the Mothman Festival. I had taken a week's vacation. I was planning on trying to get enough road trip footage that I would be able to put out road trip, travel, and history videos the entire winter. Unfortunately, that did not happen. Unfortunately, it got canceled. A lot of my plans got canceled because of that. But the Fallout 76 community really came out and held a lot of events that weekend. The Mothman Festival was supposed to be, and it was really great seeing that. It was really great seeing content creators ordering stuff from the Mothman Museum, from the Flatwoods Monster Museum, and giving those out as prizes. I cannot thank y'all enough for supporting those organizations and bringing attention to what they do, what they provide for the communities, and that was absolutely amazing to see, and I'm very, very thankful for that. The last video of the year I did was the Monongah mine disaster. Usually I don't like covering topics that serious, that sad, but again, so many people had encouraged me to do it over the years, especially during the 100th anniversary of the Battle of Blair Mountain. So, in conclusion, it has been an amazing year here at the Best Virginian. I have really appreciated being able to bring you guys along with me for some of the adventures. Really, this year marked the first time I traveled more than like an hour, hour and a half away from home to bring content to y'all. And not just that, but getting feedback and meeting some amazing people within, the West Virginia community, the West Virginia travel and history community, the paranormal communities, and especially the Fallout 76 community. It has been a pleasure, not just being able to talk to you, but the support I've gotten from those communities has been immense, and I cannot thank any of you enough for that. So again, if I talked about anything that got you interested in some of the videos I did, some of the topics I've talked about, again, I'll have time codes down below. Again, I cannot thank you all enough. It has been an absolutely amazing year. I did hit my goal. I think right now the channel is setting on 373 subscribers. 373 of you have decided to join me on these adventures and just whatever this channel is, whatever I get into, and I cannot thank any of you enough. Definitely want to bring more West Virginia history, more travel to all of you in 2022. Hopefully I can start setting some more money aside and get to go on some longer, more in-depth adventures as time goes on. I don't know if I've ever talked about this before, but I do have some merchandise that I'll put the link to down below. But again, I would like to thank all of you for all the support you've shown this past year and all the years prior to that. And thank you. Thank you for everything and all the support you've shown. And till next time, stay wild, stay wonderful, and I hope to bring you even more adventures in 2022.